Hi everyone, welcome to your webcast for this month. Today we're going to look at an overview of the eKnowledge repository module. So the purpose of this webcast is to introduce you to the eKnowledge module and how it might be used for your association. This webcast is not a how-to training session, but an introduction to how the module works and how you might use it for further member engagement with your association. So if you do require more information or details after the webcast, please contact me and let me know. So we'll get started. In this session, we're going to look at what the eKnowledge repository module is and what the benefits are of you using it on your website. We'll also look at what the user sees, what your members see, and how they can use it to find resources and information. So what is the eKnowledge repository? Some of you may already know, but if you don't, the eKnowledge repository is a highly searchable document library. Okay. It's used to share and provide easy access to your library of resources. So do you have a large amount of resources and documents that you want to provide your members, but don't want to create a web page and links for each one? Do you want those resources to be easily searched and found based on keywords that can either be within the document or on the record that you create? Then this is likely then to be a good solution for you. You can also, we do call it the eKnowledge repository, but you can rename the repository. You could call it member resources or document library or something like that. When we install and train the module, the configuration and settings will also be discussed with your project manager or myself as your trainer at the time. So we can edit it, change the language, and reword it to suit you as well. Here are some of the working features and benefits of the eKnowledge repository for both users throughout the website and administrators. So we'll start with the users. The users search based on keywords within a document, so that's your members. They can view and download the document. They can upload resources and add comments if you wish. That's an optional feature. And they can do an advanced search based on set fields. So they can search based on topic, category, and other set fields that you create. Administrators, what are the benefits for you? You can create categories to file documents. You can upload multiple documents to one record. So if you have one record about a specific topic, you can upload multiple documents to that. Admins can also add resources through the public interface. And I'm going to explain that a bit more. With that, it means that on the website, if you want an external administrator, a board member to add documents, for example, they can do that through the website as well. You can give them access. You can also configure the fields for your advanced search functionality. So you can change the language, you can change the options and things like that. So what do you need to do to set up the eKnowledge repository? How does that work? The first thing you will do is create a category or categories. You then need to set up your fields that you want to be searchable. You add your records and attachments, and then they're displayed on the website for your members. What do the users see? Once it's displayed on the website, it's ready to go live, how do your members find the resources thereafter? What they come to is to a search page, and they can search for a document or a record using the keywords or categories. Let's have a look at that in my website. Okay, so I'm just going straight to the eKnowledge repository link, the URL. Okay, that's my particular URL for this site. But I could have it listed somewhere on the website, like under resources, such as members resources or something like that. And they can come to a search page. And what they can do is search via a keyword. So if I can click on a search. I might content. I want to search based on a keyword of content. What the system's going to do is search for any of the resources, documents, and search within the context of the document as well. So any documents that have the word content in it, all of those records will display. So I've got a list of results. Okay, I'm going to click on one of the documents, or one of the records, sorry, and there's some more details. Okay, there's some more information about the document, and there's the attachments as well. Okay, so that's a basic overview of how your users can search. So creating categories. The first step as administrators is to set up your categories. Okay, so we're going to use categories to file your records, okay, into specific categories, into the relevant categories. Users can also search based on a category. Okay. And you can restrict access based on the category as well. So let's create a category in the Association Online system. Let's go to the right spot. Okay. So the eKnowledge repository, once it's installed, it usually sits under your website CMS section. By the way, how amazing is this new look, Association Online? I'm still getting used to the blue and grey rather than the orange banners. Okay, so we're under website CMS, and it will sit at the bottom, towards the bottom on the left-hand side. So it will be popped somewhere in your website CMS section. Now, when you first come to the eKnowledge repository, you get a list of categories, and it looks very much like your website CMS area, where you have your category list in a vertical drop-down, or vertical, sorry, box. However, the eKnowledge repository is usually based on one level of category. So you have one level of category, unlike your website pages where you could have categories within categories within categories. Website eKnowledge, we would usually have one category, and then a list of records underneath. Okay. So I'm going to create a new category for today. So I'll just click on the new category link, and I'll bring up the category form, and I'm just going to call it training. Just training. Okay, I'm not going to do anything else with the category. There's not a lot you need to do, except if you do want to restrict who can access this category and all of the records within this category, you can restrict it based on your access groups. So for example, you might have members only resources, which is a common thing. So you could then restrict it to members only. Okay, so if the public user or a member was not logged in and they tried to go to that category, it would tell them they don't have access. Okay, this is members only resources, for example. But I'm going to make this one a public displayed category. There's my category now, training. That's all you need to do. Name it, give access, and then save. Pretty simple. Once you have your category in place, the next step is to add a record. eKnowledge records include things such as publishing dates, the priority field, so you can order the records how they display in the category, the detail fields as per your setup, so what other details do you want to include, the description field, so you have a short description and a long description, just like in your web pages, as well as the attachments tab where you can attach your records, your document to the attachment tab. Let's go and create a record. Okay. So in the training category, I'm going to click on add a record, and the record form will display. There are 4 tabs in the record form. I'll explain the journal tab later on, but the record tab contains most of the details about the document that you're uploading. I'm going to call this one eKnowledge training. Actually, eKnowledge manual. Okay, the publish date. So I've got so many dates in my browser, so let's just choose today. You can pop a publish end date if it has an end date for publishing, the priority order you want it to display in this category. And then we have some set fields. These are the fields that I was explaining that you can edit in the setup, which I'll show you shortly. What language is it in? Are there some keywords you might give for search engine optimization? eKnowledge repository association. What are some keywords you can pop in? Who is the author? What type of resource is it? What subject is it about? Content. And then we have the description fields, just like, you know, the short description displays in a list of results. Has a read more link. And you have the full description of document, of the record or document. You know, use these fields to explain what this document is about before they download it. Okay, I'll just click on save. So you fill in the fields in the record, add your attachment. So what are we calling this? File title and browse. So just browse from your desktop. So this is the difference with the eKnowledge repository to the website CMS. Just find my eKnowledge manual. Okay, is you're browsing and you're uploading documents from your desktop, not from the document manager. Okay, the documents from the document manager will not be searchable, so therefore you need to upload it from your desktop. And using this attachments tab means that any of those words or text or content within this eKnowledge manual are all searchable based on the keyword search field. Okay, you can add another document. So as I mentioned, you can add multiple documents to each record as well. And the categories tab is for us to decide which category this document will sit, this record, sorry, will sit in. You can have it sit in multiple categories. Awesome. So there's my document, my record and document attached. With the setup, so I just mentioned and I showed you some of the fields that I filled in the knowledge record form. You can edit those and use the setup to choose your fields for display. Add options to fields for selection and display. So, you know, the options such as, you know, what subject is this about? What type of resource is it? And you can also select which fields are available for advanced search as well. And apply your searchable categories. So let's go to the back end and look at the setup briefly. So under eKnowledge repository, under records, I have a section here called setup. Okay, so the first tab is the setup field. So we have the fields are automatically set in the left-hand column. These are the labels of the fields, also the field names, I suppose, not the labels. They're the field names. So software field name, we can relabel it to be something else. So I'm labeling it as the subject field. And then I have my options. So they are checkable options. So as an administrator, you can decide which topic or which subject that particular record is about. It is turned on, it is enabled. It is a multi-select, means you can choose multiple options. And we have it turned on for advanced search. Okay, so you can edit these fields, and there's even the metadata fields at the bottom where we can apply those keywords for search engine optimization. And you have a search categories tab. So which categories do we want to be searchable on the website? So some categories you might not want searchable, but others you might. So it's up to you. You just have to make sure when you create a new category, you do come here and turn it on. Beautiful. So once you've done your setup, you've added your categories, you've added your records, we're ready to display it on the website. Users can then search the repository via keywords that are used in the record or the document, via category that we ticked to be searchable, via the advanced search fields that we created and set it up. Actually, let me just go back. Yeah, those three. I thought there was one more, but there wasn't. So let's look at that on the website. Let's go back to the original page, the search page. As I mentioned, you have a basic search page where you can insert a keyword or select the category. Actually, so manual. I'm just going to choose keyword manual and search. Where's the one we just created? eKnowledge manual. There it is. So there's our short description with a read more link because it's in a list of results. Okay, when you click into it, here's the extra information, additional information and fields that we added. Subject, resource type, who is the author, what language is it? Here's the full description, and there's my attachment, okay, which I can download. What else the users can see, and this is optional, not everybody does want to have this option, but users themselves could also upload a file, upload their own attachment here, or, so you can pop in a title and click on upload, and they can upload another document from their desktop, or they can also add a comment. We can turn these fields off if you don't wish your members or your users to be able to interact with the eKnowledge repository. If it's just to be a searchable repository of documentation, these fields can be turned off. But now you can see my comments being added here as well. Something to be aware of with those comments, if you do decide to use them, if I go back to my record, my eKnowledge manual record, and I'll go to the journal tab, and now I can see any documents that have been uploaded from a user or a comment that's been added. These fields cannot be moderated through a moderation system, but administrators can, if you know those comments are there, you can come back into it and select it and delete it, okay, in the back end of the system. So that's something to think about if you do decide to go ahead with the eKnowledge repository, is do you want your users to be able to add an attachment and add comments? One of the other features I showed you or talked about earlier as well is that administrators can also upload a resource from the front end of the website as well. And you can see mine's not styled properly, but you can add a resource from the website. So if you have an administrator that doesn't necessarily have back-end access, you can give them access to upload a resource from the website side. Some people use that for if you have committees or organize subcommittees or something where you might provide certain documents and you don't want to do all the work for them, you can let them go and add all their documentation here. Okay, so that's an option too. The advanced search has more detail, more options for them to search based on, specific fields that you set up. Okay, let's click on advanced search and see what comes up. So my advanced search, I have the categories listed at the top, the searchable categories that were ticked. So you could select a specific category or multiple categories. Date fields, so dates that they were published from and to. And then there's a drop-down list of all the extra fields we turned on for the advanced search option. So if I said subject, for example, I can choose a specific subject from the searchable fields we set up. And or not, so we always have an option and or not, because I go, oh, I want it to be this subject or this resource type. Or, you could have multiple. You can have 5 field options here. It could be a bit of overkill, I'm not sure. It's up to you, or by author, so you can choose which fields you want to be in advanced search. That's how that works. So that's really everything you need to know about eKnowledge at this point. There's not a huge lot to it. The main work is located in the setup of your records, putting the details in, knowing what fields you want displayed, knowing what fields you want in your advanced search, and adding your documents into the categories. That's really all that there is to it. But what it means is that you're giving your members access to so much more and all of your resources and libraries and being searchable. So if you want to know more, we do have an eKnowledge repository user guide. There is a manual created. I haven't got it up at the moment. It is in the the client support portal. And if you click on Association Online, you'll come to the Association Online documents. So we're up to questions. Before we get to questions, the next webcasts are on the 26th of June. We have order management, so that's really useful for those that are in finance or starting out in finance, or administrators that manage your day-to-day transactions in your commerce system. And then on the 31st of July, we'll be doing a scheduled payments overview, so what that module includes. We'll look at how that works for your membership fees. Excellent. So thanks, Marla. We'll pass